I think that the leaders we've met with here in London are hearing our basic message that this is not only about fixing the financial markets, putting regulation in place for the financial markets. It's about either getting people back to work or creating work for them. And we're working hard to make sure that trade unionist voices are heard to get employment on the agenda. My impression is we're being heard, but we need a lot of improvement in the document that's out there before we can call success. It's about providing workers with what is a right. It's an opportunity to a decent job. And this crisis is going exactly in the opposite direction. We're talking about a loss of 50 million jobs this year. It's extraordinary. And you've got to fix the system. It's a systemic crisis. It's not a crisis that happened to the system. It's a crisis that the system caused. So we've got to fix the system, get people back to work. And you're right, give people decent work opportunities, and things are going to go a great deal better than they are today. And that's a challenge. The question that's often asked of us here is, we're spending 2 or 3 days here in London, and we're doing the rounds of heads of state and of governments and of ministers and of diplomats. And we do occasionally, more than occasionally, get asked the question, is this really what your job is about? Is this what trade unionism is about? Is it simply, pounding the corridors of power and trying to get diplomats to move? I think we have to say this is part of our job. We've got to attack this crisis in 2 ways. One is by trying to influence meetings such as the G20, because this is where the action is at right now. We've got to do that, but we've also got to make sure that we don't lose our roots, which is to protest when we have to protest. And it's worth remembering that our French colleagues, for example, who are with us here in London, 2 weeks ago they had 3 million French people on the streets doing what we do well, protesting and making their voice heard in the traditional trade union way. Don't see a contradiction between those 2 things. We've got to keep on doing both.